Imagine this. You're 72, suitcase in hand, ready to jet off on that dream trip you've been planning for years. Maybe a cruise through the Mediterranean or a road trip across the country to visit grandkids. You've earned it, right? But what if I told you that stepping onto that plane or into that car could silently unravel everything you've worked so hard to build? Your health, your savings, even your peace of mind. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The truth is, traveling after 70 isn't just about packing light or booking the right hotel. It's a minefield of hidden dangers that most seniors never see coming until it's too late. And today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the 6 risks that could turn your golden years adventure into a nightmare. And more importantly, how you can sidestep them to keep living your best life. Picture this: a spree 74-year-old named Margaret, who I met at a senior wellness seminar last year. She'd just returned from a month-long trip to Italy, her first big adventure since retiring. She was glowing as she told me about the cobblestone streets of Florence and the gelato that melted on her tongue. But then her smile faded. "I didn't realize how much it took out of me," she admitted. Her knees ached for weeks after, her bank account was drained from unexpected costs, and she caught a bug on the plane that landed her in bed for days. Margaret's story isn't rare. It's a wake-up call. Travel after 70 can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life, but only if you know what's lurking around the corner. So in this video, I'm diving deep into the 6 hidden dangers of traveling after 70 that every senior must know before their next trip. From the physical toll that sneaks up on you to the financial traps that can wipe out your savings, these are the risks that could steal your joy and your years if you're not prepared. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll have the tools to travel smarter, safer, and with the confidence that you're not just surviving your trip, you're thriving through it. Ready? Let's jump in. First up, let's talk about the silent saboteur that catches so many seniors off guard: the physical demands of travel. You might be thinking, "I'm fit for my age. I walk every morning. I can handle a little sightseeing." But here's the kicker. Travel isn't just a stroll around the block. A 2022 study from the Journal of Aging and Health found that seniors over 70 who traveled internationally were 40% more likely to report new joint pain or fatigue compared to those who stayed home. Why? Because travel is a marathon, not a sprint. Lugging a suitcase through an airport, climbing stairs in a historic hotel with no elevator, or even sitting cramped on a plane for hours, it's a recipe for wear and tear on a body that's already clocked a few decades. Take Jim, a 71-year-old retiree who decided to hike part of the Appalachian Trail last summer. He'd been active his whole life, so he figured a few miles a day would be no big deal. But halfway through, his knees gave out. He didn't account for the uneven terrain, the weight of his backpack, or the fact that his joints weren't as forgiving as they were at 50. He ended up cutting his trip short, hobbling home with a hefty dose of frustration. And it's not just about the big stuff. Think about those long days of walking through museums or standing in line at tourist spots. Even the fittest seniors can feel the strain when they're out of their usual routine. So how do you beat this? It's all about preparation and pacing. Start small. Train for your trip like it's a mission. If you're planning to explore a city on foot, build up your stamina with longer walks weeks in advance. Maybe add a hill or two to mimic those uneven streets. Stretch daily to keep those joints limber. A simple 5-minute routine can work wonders. And pack smart. Invest in a lightweight suitcase with wheels, because every pound you drag is a pound your body feels. But it's not just about gear. Listen to your body. Schedule rest days, even if it's just a quiet afternoon with a book. And here's a game changer. Consider a walking stick or trekking poles, even for urban trips. They take the pressure off your knees and hips, letting you go farther without the fallout. The goal isn't to avoid adventure. It's to make sure your body can keep up with your spirit. In just a moment, I'll share a simple trick that can cut your fatigue in half. But let's keep moving. Now, picture yourself at the airport, boarding pass in hand, excited for takeoff. But here's the danger you're probably not thinking about. Your immune system isn't what it used to be. After 70, your body's natural defenses start to slow down. It's a fact of aging called immunosenescence. A 2023 report from the CDC noted that adults over 70 are 30% more likely to catch respiratory infections, like colds or flu, while traveling, thanks to crowded planes, unfamiliar germs, and the stress of being on the move. And trust me, nothing derails a trip faster than a hacking cough or a fever that keeps you in bed instead of out exploring. I'll never forget my friend Carol's story. At 76, she took a group tour to Japan. Cherry blossoms, sushi, the works. But 2 days in, she was sidelined by a nasty bug she picked up on the flight. She spent half her trip in a hotel room, racking up medical bills and missing the sights she'd saved years to see. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? She told me later, I thought I was invincible. I didn't even pack a mask. That's the trap. Overconfidence. Your immune system's like an old car. It still runs, but it needs more TLC. And travel? It's like driving that car through a dust storm. So how do you armor up? Give your immune system a fighting chance before you go. Load up on the basics: vitamin C, zinc, and plenty of sleep in the weeks leading up to your trip. Stay hydrated on the plane, because dry air is a germ's best friend. Aim for a glass of water every hour in the air. And here's a pro tip: wipe down your tray table and armrests with an antibacterial wipe. Studies show those spots are dirtier than the bathroom, crawling with up to 2,000 bacteria per square inch. Wear a mask in crowded spots if you're feeling cautious. It's not about fear. It's about freedom to enjoy your trip. And if you've got a chronic condition, talk to your doctor about travel-safe meds or boosters. Small moves, big payoff, because a healthy trip is a happy trip. Speaking of health, have you ever thought about what's quietly draining your energy on the road? That brings us to danger number 3, the sleep trap. Travel throws your routine out the window. New beds, strange noises, jet lag. And after 70, your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. A study from the National Sleep Foundation found that seniors who slept poorly while traveling reported 50% higher levels of stress and exhaustion. And here's the scary part: chronic sleep loss doesn't just make you grumpy. It weakens your heart, spikes your blood pressure, and even messes with your memory. It's like trying to run a marathon on an empty tank. Let me tell you about Frank, a 73-year-old who took a cross-country train trip last year. He was thrilled to see the scenery roll by, but the lumpy mattress and the clatter of the tracks kept him up every night. By day 3, he was a zombie, forgetting where he parked his rental car, snapping at his wife, and barely enjoying the journey. He told me, "I thought I'd power through. I've always been a tough guy." But toughness doesn't beat biology. And it's not just trains. Hotel beds can be too firm, pillows too flat, and that time zone hop from New York to London. It's a 3-day recovery for a 70-year-old brain. The fix is simpler than you think, but it takes intention. Pack a sleep kit, earplugs, an eye mask, a travel pillow, and stick to a wind-down routine, even on the road. Maybe it's a cup of chamomile tea or a few pages of a book, something to signal your brain it's time to shut down. Avoid screens an hour before bed. That blue light is a sleep thief. And here's that trick I promised earlier. Take a 20-minute power nap in the afternoon. Research shows it can double your energy without wrecking your night's sleep. If jet lag's the enemy, ease into the new time zone. Shift your bedtime by an hour each day before you leave. Sleep's not a luxury on the road. It's your superpower. Little tweaks, huge difference. But it's not just your body that's at risk. Your wallet's on the line too. Danger number 4 is the financial pitfall that sneaks up on seniors who travel. Did you know that 60% of retirees underestimate their travel costs by at least 25%, according to a 2024 AARP survey? Flights get delayed, luggage gets lost, and those cheap tours suddenly tack on hidden fees. Before you know it, Your dream trip is dipping into savings you meant for the grandkids or that new roof. It's a slow bleed that can turn a joyful escape into a stressful reckoning. Take Susan, a 70-year-old widow who booked a budget cruise to the Caribbean. She thought she'd scored a deal. $800 for a week at sea sounded like a steal. But then came the port fees, the excursion costs, and a $500 medical bill for a sprained ankle she got tripping on the deck. She came home broke and bitter, saying, "I should have stayed home and watched a travel show." And she's not alone. Unexpected medical costs abroad can hit thousands if you're not covered, and cancellation fees can sting if plans change last minute. Ever wonder why that all-inclusive deal still left you reaching for your wallet? Here's how to stay ahead. Plan with a buffer. Set aside 20% more than you think you'll need. Call it your what-if fund. Get travel insurance. Yes, it's worth it. Look for policies that cover cancellations, medical emergencies, and lost bags. A good plan costs less than a fancy dinner and saves you a fortune. And here's a secret weapon. Use a credit card with travel perks. Points can offset costs, and many offer free insurance as a perk. Research your destination too. Know the average cost of a meal or a cab ride so you're not blindsided. Money saved is freedom earned, and you deserve to enjoy every penny of your trip. Now, let's shift gears to danger number 5, the isolation trap. Travel can be lonely, especially if you're going solo or your partner's not as mobile as you. After 70, social connections are gold. They keep your mind sharp and your heart full. But a 2021 study from the University of Chicago found that seniors who traveled alone reported higher rates of anxiety and depression than those who stayed connected. Why? Because travel often pulls you away from your support network, and unfamiliar places can feel overwhelming without a familiar face. It's like planting a flower in the desert. Without roots, it withers. I met a man named Henry at a travel expo last month. He was 78, widowed, and determined to see the Grand Canyon. He went alone, thinking it'd be liberating. But 3 days in, he told me he felt lost, not geographically, but emotionally. No one to share the sunset with, no one to laugh over a bad diner meal. I'd see couples or families and feel like a ghost, he said. It hit him hard. And he cut his trip short, not because he didn't love the view, but because the silence was too loud. Ever felt that pang of being surrounded by people but still alone? So how do you dodge this? Build connection into your trip. Join a senior travel group. There are tons out there, from hiking clubs to cultural tours, and they're designed for people like you. Or plan a video call with family mid-trip to recharge your soul. Seeing your grandson's grin can turn a tough day around. Even chatting with a friendly stranger at a cafe can lift your spirits. Ask about their favorite local spot, and suddenly you've got a mini bond. If you're traveling with someone, carve out shared moments, like a quiet dinner or a scenic drive. You're not just traveling, you're living, and connection keeps you grounded. Finally, danger number 6, the mental overload that travel can dump on you. After 70, your brain's still sharp, but it's less patient with chaos. Navigating airports, deciphering foreign signs, or juggling a packed itinerary. It's a lot. A 2023 study from the American Psychological Association found that seniors who overplanned their trips were 35% more likely to report burnout. And burnout doesn't just ruin your vacation, it can linger, fogging your mind for weeks. It's like overloading a circuit, one extra plug, and the whole system shorts out. Think about Linda, a 72-year-old who planned a whirlwind tour of Europe, Paris, Rome, London, you name it. She wanted to check off her bucket list, so she crammed every day with museums, tours, and train rides. By day 5, she was a wreck. She missed a train in Milan, lost her passport in Paris, and broke down crying in a London hotel lobby. I thought I could handle it, she told me later, but my brain just quit. It's not about intelligence, it's about capacity. Add in a language barrier or a delayed flight, and you're juggling more than you signed up for. Ever felt that moment where your mind just says, enough. The antidote: simplify and give your brain a break. Pick 1 or 2 must-see spots per trip and leave room to breathe. Spontaneity is your friend, not your enemy. Use apps like Google Maps or TripIt to offload the mental grunt work. Let tech handle the schedules so you don't have to. Write down essentials like hotel addresses or emergency numbers on a card you keep in your wallet. It's low-tech peace of mind. And give yourself grace. Travel's not a race, it's a gift. If you're abroad, learn a few key phrases. Where's the bathroom? Or help, please. To ease the stress. Slow down, and you'll see more, not less. So, here's what we've uncovered today. Traveling after 70 is a tightrope walk between adventure and risk. The physical demands can wear you down. Your immune system's more vulnerable. Sleep can slip through your fingers. Finances can spiral. Isolation can creep in. And mental overload can tip the scales. But here's the good news. You've got the power to flip the script. Train your body. Boost your immunity. Protect your sleep. Pad your budget. Stay connected. And keep it simple. These aren't just tips. They're your ticket to aging well, on your terms. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe for more life-changing tips on thriving after 70. Tell me in the comments, which of these dangers surprise you the most? I'd love to hear your stories or your plans for that next big trip. Aging is inevitable, but how you age is up to you. Take control of your journey today. And I'll see you in the next video.